People who are no longer best friends with someone. What happened? She slept with my then boyfriend. The most boring tragedy of my life. She was toxic and abusive to me for years, but I made excuses every time. The last straw was when she was incredibly cruel to one of my other best friends who was actively dying of cancer and then painted herself as the injured party. I put up with being treated like shit for 20 years, but to treat a dying woman like that, I was immediately done. He tried to sleep with my wife. Knew him for 30 years when he tried to sleep with my wife. We just grew apart. I think I reached out to her once to ask how she was doing and didn't really get a response, so I just kind of decided that was that. After more than 20 years of being besties, she just ghosted me. After a year of not hearing from her, despite reaching out, I asked her husband if she was okay. He was confused because she claimed to be talking to me all the time. Whatever. It hurt for a while, but she honestly brought very little to my life in hindsight. We just grew apart and no longer had the same interests. My best friend slept with my boyfriend. I think it was something going on for a few months, but once I found out I was devastated. They've been together for a few years now and I think she's pregnant and he's in jail. Dodged a bullet with that one foot. She got married and cut all contact with me. 20-year friendship tossed aside like a used napkin. I stopped paying. When I stopped people-pleasing and set boundaries. I was in a group of friends who started bullying a person I knew out of nowhere. I told them I was not okay with that. They soon started hanging out without inviting me. I am still very glad I did what I did. Edit typos. After high school ended, he became too busy. I invited him over every weekend, each time he said that he'd come, but didn't show up. After a year of him not coming, I stopped inviting him. Would bust my balls in front of attractive women to make himself look better. I was always confused because there was zero chance of competition. There's a point where it gets old and you never look back. The asshole got cancer and died on me. One of my old BFFs thought drinking and driving was a competition. No thanks. My best friend was cheating on her boyfriend who was also my friend. I told her she had to stop, tell him, or break up with him. She continued to cheat. One day he asked me if she was seeing someone else, and I couldn't lie. Years after that we hung out a few times, but obviously it was never the same. Don't remember that last time we spoke now. Actual Nazi. Like swastika graffiting, Sieg Heiling, learned German Nazi. I lost 100 pounds. She didn't, and accused me of deliberately changing. Well, yeah. The hardest part when a longtime friend stops talking to you entirely is when you don't know why. You assume that it may be that a mutual friend said something about you that isn't true, but you'll live the rest of your life not ever knowing why. When I realized the friendship was toxic. Whenever I would hang out with her, I would feel drained. I became her therapist. He became addicted to cocaine after his father died. It warped his personality, and he was constantly angry and bitter. He was unpredictable, and genuinely scared me because it felt that it would be very easy for him to do something that would ruin his life in an instant. Also refused any help offered. The only thing I could do was move on. Meth happened. She was an insufferable narcissist and I was too young to understand. They died. Life happened. Over time we texted and talked less, and now we don't really talk at all. I found out through one of their friends she thought wouldn't share. She had slept with my past 3 boyfriends and I was in the same house sleeping one of those times. She snuck around for a whole summer keeping the secret that she was fucking and had a relationship with my dying father. She was of age, but he was in his last months of life, not in his right mind. Hard to look past. She still reaches out every now and then trying to reconnect, but it's just too damn weird. Went through quite a bit together, but I started to realize it was rather one-sided on multiple levels for a long while, and then I would only hear from them when they needed something. I just faded on it. Just got tired of being ignored when I would try to make plans to get together or hang out. I'm not going to beg someone to be my friend. Friends for over 15 years and now haven't spoken to each other in over 3 years. He cheated on his wife and left her and their 2 kids. I came out as bisexual and she accused me of having a crush on her. I didn't, but she said I made her feel uncomfortable. They started making rude and inappropriate comments, made it into a me problem by calling me too sensitive. The whole thing just got exhausting, really. I was always the one that was there for her, but it was rarely returned. It's funny though, how someone who prides themselves on their own self-awareness can't figure out that when they have conflict with their boss, co-workers, most of their friends, most of their family, that they might be contributing to the problem. Best I can figure, she got divorced, I didn't. She got new BF, and that was the end of it. Last time I saw her, we ran into each other 7 years ago. We both cried. She said it was all her, she's sorry. I said let's get together for coffee or lunch. She said text me. I did. She wrote back let me check my schedule. That was the last I heard from her. We used to be next door neighbors, and then I moved and meeting each other was much harder. Eventually just grew apart, no hard feelings, and I'm sure he's doing pretty good. Never was a great friend, bit fun to hang out with. Then he got a toxic girlfriend. We were roommates for a while and living with her was hell. They decided to get their own place, and I came to realize how miserable I was living with them. Getting away from it showed me how bad it was. So I made a decision, I didn't want anything to do with his girlfriend. Unfortunately, since they were dating, cutting her out meant cutting him out. I've moved on, met new people, and things are starting to pick up. Best buddies with a guy. Had some of the best times of my life with him. Went to a party, we met this chick, they started dating. As soon as we moved from our apartment, we never talked again. They are married now. Used to really be pissed about this, but it happens all the time. Sucks cause we were so tight. I had too many dives into depression and all that comes with them for my BFF to handle any longer, and this was all before we hit 35. My life is awesome now, great career, good relationships, contentment. But I sure wish he was still here to share it all with him. Our mutual friends never seem to know where he is or how he is doing, and I don't know if that is manufactured or authentic. I sure hope wherever he is that he is living it up, because he was a once-in-a-lifetime dude. People change. Some for the better. Some for the worse. I was going through a divorce and my father died. Decided partying and alcohol was my new coping mechanism. They went along for a bit. I moved to another country to get rehab and they moved off to Washington and got married. I got right, but I never heard from them again, and they have a child now. I miss them still, near daily. 10 years later. Was my best bud. I was a shitty friend. I'm not sure. And that's the problem. To keep it short, my best friend of 20 years ghosted me. I messaged her twice, just reaching out, and nothing. Messaged her again just to let her know my mom had passed, still nothing. I'm not angry, just hurt. She was mad at me for something, then proceeded to ask her Twitter followers to stalk, harass, and send me death threats. Then got mad when I told her she's a horrible person and didn't know why I called her that. Kind of just snapped into place that she was a terrible person one day. We went out for coffee and she screamed at the barista for messing up the drink she ordered off the secret Starbucks menu. She was all excited because she'd slept with my best friend's roommate's boyfriend. Was furious over me choosing sides because my best friend, and her roommate went out to a bar without her. Which time I have zero issues cutting someone out of my life. Some took advantage of my kindness. Some shared personal details of my life. Some lied about aspects of my life. Some let me carry the majority of the friendship and couldn't be bothered when I needed my own support. There are some just plain awful people in the world. I took general stock of my relationships some years ago and realized that when it came to some of the people I consider my closest friends, it was always me reaching out, always me trying to make plans and never any effort on their side. Cut them out ASAP, and while my circle of friends is significantly smaller, at least their quality